Sometimes you wake up in the morning and feel as if you were living someone else's life. You look in the mirror and see your face, but it's not really you. You see your eyes, but they don't carry your true gaze. You ask yourself, who is this person looking back at me? This isn't an illusion, but a harsh reality that millions live every day. We live lives that others have designed for us through our parents' expectations, societal pressures, dreams we didn't choose, and paths we didn't draw. Ibn Khaldun says in his Muqaddimah that man is the child of his habits, his upbringing, and his generation, not the child of his nature and temperament. This means you might be living a life created for you by what Ibn Khaldun called asabaya, that invisible force that shapes your identity without you even knowing it. Asabiyya isn't just about tribe or family, but every idea, every expectation, and every obligation that was planted in your mind from a young age. But there's a secret no one told you. Deep within you, a soul is screaming, calling you to return to your true self. This scream isn't weakness, but an awakening. Ibn Khaldun knew this secret. He understood that man is social by nature, but he is also an individual with an independent soul searching for its truth. When was the last time you made a decision from your heart? A decision not influenced by your mother's voice, your fear of society's opinion, or others' expectations? If the answer is you don't remember, you are living a life that isn't yours. Remember your childhood when you played, dreamed, and danced without shame. Then the voices began to creep in telling you not to do that because of what people would say. Choose a respectable major like medicine or engineering. Marry from a good family. Be like someone else because look how successful they are. Every sentence added a new layer to the mask until you became a person of many faces, one for your family, one for work, one for your friends. Ibn Khaldun explains this phenomenon with amazing depth. He says that man in his primitive state is closer to goodness than in his civilized state, because civilization corrupts morals with its many tricks and deceptions. What he means is that a complex society forces us to wear masks to survive. We learn social tricks, hide our true feelings, and play roles that aren't us. But when a soul is hidden for so long, it begins to scream, a silent scream. The symptoms of this silent scream include feeling lost even though you're successful in the eyes of others, waking up tired despite sleeping enough hours, feeling lonely among people, and asking yourself if this is all there is to life. This is what psychologists call existential alienation, but Ibn Khaldun called it centuries ago the corruption of nature due to excessive affectation. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Ask yourself who you are when no one is watching. What do you truly love? What moves your heart? Don't answer quickly. Let the silence speak. Let your soul whisper. You'll find a faint voice, your true voice, calling you from afar. This voice isn't dead, but buried under layers of expectations and masks. Inside every human being, a hidden battle takes place every day between two voices. The voice of your true soul and the voice of the asabaya that has been governing you for years. The first voice is faint and calm, coming from the heart telling you to do what you love, follow your passion, and be true to yourself. The second voice is loud and insistent, coming from fear and screaming about what people will say, how you'll make a living, and insisting you stick to safety. Ibn Khaldun understood this conflict deeply. He writes that if the soul is on its innate nature, it is ready to accept and be imbued with whatever comes to it, whether good or evil. This means your original soul is pure and moldable, but society, family, and painful experiences have stained it with colors that aren't its own. To know which is your true voice, try this exercise. Think of an important decision you're facing, perhaps a job change, marriage, travel, or learning something new. Sit in a quiet place and put your hand on your heart. Ask yourself what your heart says and listen to the first answer that comes. That is the voice of your soul. Then ask what your fear says, and you will hear a list of worries and justifications. That is the voice of the asabiyya. The difference is clear. The soul's voice speaks with I want, I love, I feel. The asabiyya's voice speaks with I must, I am not allowed, this and that will happen. Ibn Khaldun says that skills are mastered through a lot of work and practice. This applies to the skill of listening to your inner voice too. The more you practice listening to your soul, the clearer its voice becomes. The biggest prison a person lives in is not made of iron, but of other people's gazes. We are surrounded by invisible judges who pass judgment on us every day. Parents judge our choices, friends our appearance, society our success, and even strangers our way of speaking. What's worse is that we have started judging ourselves with the same harshness, telling ourselves we're stupid, we're failures, we don't deserve happiness. These judgments repeat in our heads thousands of times daily. Ibn Khaldun understood this phenomenon with amazing depth. He says that the conquered always tries to imitate the conqueror in their symbols, dress, beliefs, and all their conditions and habits. What he means is that when we feel inferior to others, we try to imitate them, thinking it will make us acceptable. We give up our true selves to wear masks we believe will protect us from rejection. The more you try to please everyone, the more you lose yourself. You become like an actor who has forgotten their true identity from playing too many roles. When Ibn Khaldun was a judge in court, he had to rule according to what the rulers and the elite expected. But his conscience was screaming that this was not true justice. The choice was difficult: either stay in his position and gain the authorities' approval, or follow his conscience and face rejection. He chose to leave everything. He chose the desert over the palace, truth over safety, and the voice of his soul over the voice of the masses. When he stopped trying to please others, he produced his greatest work. Write on a piece of paper the 3 biggest judgments you fear people will pass on you, such as, you're a failure, you're weird, or you don't get it. Then ask yourself, what if this were true? What if people actually judged you like that? You'll discover something amazing: the world will not end. The truth is, most people are so busy judging themselves that they don't have time to judge you. And even if they do, it says more about them than it does about you. This is the moment you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to a real life, and the other leads to a fake one. The first path is difficult. You will face rejection. You will lose people you thought were friends. You will hear hurtful words from those closest to you. But the second path is more difficult because you will lose yourself forever. In a decisive moment of his life, Ibn Khaldun wrote that in isolation from people, being alone with himself, and cutting himself off for God's sake, he found solace. This was not an escape, but the greatest revolutionary act of his life. Listen to your heart's voice now. There is something inside you screaming, a project you want to start, a person you want to tell your feelings to, a place you want to travel to, a dream you buried years ago under the rubble of logic. This voice is tired of waiting for you. Every day you postpone the decision to live for yourself, a part of your soul dies. Look in the mirror, look into your eyes. Do you want to stay like this forever, or do you want to see the light return to them? The decision is in your hands now, at this very moment. Start with something small. Call that person. Write in that project. Buy that plane ticket. Say no to something you don't want. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the new year. Don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. After you've made the decision, the most difficult and most beautiful stage begins: rebuilding yourself from scratch. Imagine you are an architect, and before you is an empty plot of land, and you must build the house of your soul from scratch. But this time, you will build according to your plan, not the plans of others. Look around you. Who are the people who drain your energy? Who are the ones who always remind you of your old self? Ibn Khaldun says that companionship has a great effect on morals. Don't be harsh, but be firm. Start reducing the time you spend with toxic people, even if they are relatives. Every morning, before you open your phone or check messages, sit with yourself for 10 minutes. Ask yourself how you truly feel today, what your soul wants today, and how you can be more honest with yourself. This is not a luxury, but a necessity for survival. Start with small decisions. Say no to an invitation you don't want. Wear clothes that express you. Order your favorite food, even if others don't like it. Every no you say to something that doesn't suit you is a yes to something that does. Difficult days will come. People will question your change. They will say you've gone back to your old ways. They will try to pull you back. This is a test of your will to stay with your new self. Remember Ibn Khaldun's words that the prohibition of something is a motivation for it, and the discouragement of it confirms its occurrence. The more they resist your change, the more you can be sure you are on the right path. The real war begins, not with the people around you, but with that hidden voice in your head that whispers you're lying to yourself. You are not qualified for this change. This voice is very cunning. It comes in your moments of weakness when you are tired or alone. It uses its strongest weapons against you, your painful memories, reminding you of when you failed or were let down. Ibn Khaldun understood this inner conflict deeply. He says that the soul that commands evil is naturally inclined to love desires and to lean toward comfort and rest. What he means is that a part of you wants to stay in the comfort zone, even if it is a painful comfort. The subconscious mind is programmed to maintain survival, and in its view, every change equals danger. Therefore, when you try to change your life, it begins to send warning signals, a sudden feeling of anxiety for no reason, dark thoughts about the future, painful memories that surface, and a strong desire to return to old habits. This is not a weakness on your part, but a natural biological design in the human brain. Ibn Khaldun's strategy for facing the self that commands evil involves first acknowledging. Don't fight the voice or ignore it. Acknowledge its existence and tell it you see it, you hear it, but you will not obey it. Second, question its credibility. Ask yourself if this fear is real or imagined, if this voice is protecting you or imprisoning you. Third, reprogram with positive memories. For every bad memory it reminds you of, remember a beautiful one. For every failure, remember a success. Something amazing happens when you start living honestly with yourself. Life begins to conspire in your favor in ways you don't expect. The right people show up in your life. Opportunities knock on your door. Locked doors open on their own. This isn't luck, but a universal law that Ibn Khaldun discovered centuries ago. He says that if the soul is in a state of innate readiness, it will be imbued with what is befitting to it from the circumstances. What he means is that when you become honest with yourself, you emit different frequencies, a different energy, a different radiance. This radiance attracts everything that suits your true frequencies. When Ibn Khaldun left his position and secluded himself in the desert, everyone expected history to forget him, but the exact opposite happened. Students and scholars began to come to him from everywhere. Why? Because he became authentic. He no longer played a role. He was living his truth. This honesty with himself created a special aura around him that made people feel safe with him, trust him, and be drawn to him. Superficial people will disappear. You won't need to drive them away. You'll simply discover that you have nothing in common. Deep people will appear, people who understand you with a glance, appreciate your honesty, and share your values. The final truth is that the relationship with yourself is the longest relationship in your life, from birth to death. If it is a toxic relationship, your whole life will be toxic. And if it is a loving relationship, your whole life will be beautiful. The choice is in your hands. Do you want to be your own friend or your own enemy? Watch our last video on how chronic pain is your body's way of speaking to you, because sometimes the physical pain you carry is directly connected to living someone else's life. When you suppress your true self and ignore your soul's voice, your body begins to store that emotional pain physically. Understanding how to listen to your body's signals will give you another powerful tool in your journey back to authenticity, helping you recognize when your physical symptoms are actually calling you home to yourself.